Hello, and welcome to a live pop culture on Deprogram with Keri Smith. I'm your host, Keri, and I'm here with my co-host, Mystery Chris. Hello, Mystery Chris.
Hi, Keri. How are you?
I'm good. I thought I should tell you, I think I've told you before, but I've gotten so used to calling you Mystery Chris on the show that I now call you that with Anthony, my husband. He, he'll laugh. I'll be like, oh yeah, I talked to Mr. Chris today, and he's like,
I call myself that, yes.
it's a force of habit. Welcome if you're in the chat tonight and you are a regular deprogrammed community member. Welcome back. If you would like to support the show, we do have many ways to do that. Super chats, subscribes to our locals, Patreon, and you could become a YouTube member. You can also just hit like, leave a comment, share the video. That helps us out a lot. Thank you to GJJ for hitting us up with a super chat already. $10. Thank you. He says Carrie's late because she's digging a new outhouse. How did you know?
Hey, you should build an outhouse. I mean, you never use it, but just to have one. Wouldn't that be cool?
I think it would be. We actually talked about maybe building an outdoor shower or something.
Oh, then you have a bunch of pervy neighbors.
We don't really have a reason for one. It's not like we live by a lake. So I don't think we're probably not going to. And there's so many things we've talked about putting in the backyard. There's no way to do all of the things. So
you got to build Tiger a 2-story doghouse.
Tiger. Oh my goodness. I didn't tell you this, but I posted about it today. This is not on topic, but I'll just tell you this. Anthony and I were reading this dog magazine at the coffee shop. It's a whole magazine about dogs, first of all. And second of all, they had a whole article, many-page article about giving your dog a massage. And then one section was called consent.
What? No.
I'm not kidding. And it said you need to ask your dog for consent. For consensual touch is very important when doing dog massage. And I just was saying, well, I would ask him, but he only speaks Spanish. And Anthony won't translate because he never asked Tiger for consent. Anyway.
Wait, does it say like how the dog's supposed to give consent?
It says, I mean, it's kind of common sense. It's like, touch the dog and see if he seems to like it or if he's aggressive. Or, I mean, you don't need to rename it something woke. I mean, you don't need to wokeify it and say getting consensual touch from your dog is like that's my only issue with it is yeah, this is common sense, and you don't need 3 paragraphs on consent. Like you just like be a normal human who can tell if your dog is okay with this kind of massage and it's not even like they even say for a doggy massage, in case anyone didn't know, I didn't, they don't need a lot of strong pressure, so it's not like you're doing a sports massage. It's basically like a belly rub. It seemed, I'm like, okay, I'm not asking Tiger for consent for belly rub. He never asked me for consent.
Yeah.
Run up and lick my face.
You need to report him to police.
Yeah, animal control. He's been protesting though.
No,
he's a defund animal control. That's Tiger. Anyway, yeah, somebody says gross. The one thing that I think is maybe red flag gross about it is just how perverse the woke are, some of them, and I just feel like they're laying the groundwork to change the way we think. The way they change the way we think about things with language. To think that your dog can give consent to things. It's like, and there was a woman that was in the news recently just arrested for bestiality. And I kind of was thinking, okay, I could totally see down the road them being like, dogs can consent. We've been asking them to consent for massage. What's another little? No.
Did you ever see that Young Turks clip of Cenk Uygur arguing that laws should be changed in favor of bestiality?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch that.
Is it real?
Yes.
What's wrong with him?
I don't know.
What is wrong? This may be the grossest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, he kept giving like he went into this whole example about a horse and giving pleasure to a horse. And
No.
like Anna, the co-host, was like looking at him the whole time. It's like, what is she's like gross. And he's like, this is serious. You
That's
just
when
gotta watch
people
it. It's hilarious.
they're either I think the only way somebody could talk about stuff like that is when a person is so deeply evil or they're so in their intellect that they've been disconnected entirely from morality, and they have no sense of they're just like you can think your way into anything, into defending anything. That's disgusting. Ugh. Okay. You're laughing. I'll have to go see it. He's that guy's I don't know. He has problems. I saw that video of him in the airport freaking out at the
No,
airport
yeah.
employees,
I've seen
and
that.
ever since then I was like, "Okay, this is who you are. This is a window into part of your character." And the fact that you filmed it and you put it online because you thought it made you look good is even crazier, where you're berating airline employees. Uh, that was a weird video. Okay, that's not our topic tonight, guys.
next week it will be. No.
Next week. Let's see. We're gonna do a country music episode, and I'll tell you up front, 2 announcements. One, this Saturday, April 15th, I'm hosting Minds Fest at the Vulcan in Austin, Texas. There are still tickets available at minds.com. And Sonora, I see you in the chat. I have a code for you. Message me after the show. And anyway, if you're in the Austin area, if you're in Texas, please come out. There's going to be debate, discussion with people like Peter Boghossian, Libby Emmons, Luke Rudowski, Ian Crossland, Jack Posobiec, Daryl Davis. There's going to be panels and discussion, and then there's also going to be afterwards comedy and music. Jamie Kilstein's performing, and there's 3 bands that are booked, so it's going to be a good time. Hey, K Dub True, I have to tell you in the chat, K Dub True here. You guys, if you're interested in any of the craziness that's happening in some of the churches now, I go follow Chris K Dub True. He's been covering some of the stuff at Transformation Church that is just out of this world. So maybe he could come on and talk about some of it. But hello, good to see you. Okay, so that's happening Saturday. That's my one announcement. My second announcement is tonight. We may cut this a little bit short, not too short, but may cut it a little bit short because Chrissy Mayer her channel is having a 600 anniversary celebration stream, and there's going to be people like Alex Stein and the comedian Anthony Cumia. I forget who all is going to be there, but I'm going to pop in there. So we'll see. We're going to talk about country music first, and the attempted wokeification of country, which I think is actually it's a continuing something that was already happening, which is the commercialization of country. And so like the watering down of country and the mass produced in my opinion inferior radio country music, like that's been happening for a while. And it's just that woke has now become corporate, and so of course it's now infusing all of that corporate radio country, in my opinion. Are you excited about this episode?
Yes.
You sold it.
Well, hey, I've told you, like, I'm not
Mhm.
like a huge fan of modern country. Like country prior to the 80s, I like quite a bit of it, Johnny Cash, some Merle Haggard. I think I told you I've been listening to some Jerry Reed. I actually listened to all of his albums. He's got like 50 albums. I love him. But like old school country, I love. But like from 1980s till today, I'm just not a huge fan of that. But I
Yeah.
am really interested in seeing how, like you just said, how it's being watered down and really being subverted. It kind of
Yes.
reminds me of the church. We were talking about the other day how a lot of churches feel then they need to stay relevant by pandering to young people, to the
Yes.
woke culture, and they're allowing the culture to influence it rather than influencing the culture. And country music kind of seems similar. just like you said, where they're bringing in elements that aren't country whatsoever. Not even talking about the woke stuffs, but just the music itself, like Little
Yes.
Nas X. Like that's not country.
No.
Like if you want to put that in its own category, fine, but don't, because we're going to talk a little bit about the country and music awards. But there was one thing I saw. They had Alanis Morissette come up on stage and sing with some country music stars, and I was like, okay, Alanis Morissette's cool, but she's not country.
She's
And it's just,
not.
again, it feels like this need to try to appeal to people who don't like country music or the Southern culture in general.
I completely agree. They're pandering. It reminds me of, and we can get into this in a little bit, the Bud Light boycott that's happening, and how some of the different country stars have responded in different ways to Bud Light, partnering with Dylan Mulvaney as a spokesperson. But one of the things I read in one of the articles we're going to look at is the marketing person for Bud Light, who's super woke and looks just like you think she would look. She was saying, we're trying to appeal to a younger demographic. We're trying to appeal to, basically she's saying we're trying to pander and appeal to woke young people. Like she's just admitting it. And I think some of the countries like that, and one of the things I have to draw a distinction here. I don't want anyone to misunderstand me. I like experimentation with music and with genres. I loved when on her Lemonade album, Beyonce included the song what is it? Daddy Said. What's the name of it? Somebody in the chat will know the name of it. But she had a country inspired song. And I love that song. And I like the meshing of genre. It was very well done. I also love, there's a bluegrass rap band. They're called Gangsta Grass. They did, they did the theme song for Justified, the TV show Justified. So some people might recognize them from that. And I really like what they're doing. They're like molding, it's like bluegrass, but with rap lyrics and bass. I think they do a good job with it. I like that. What I don't like is when it's cheap and inferior and it just panders, and it feels like, just like with a lot of popular music today, it's created with an algorithm. For example, there's a lot of on the radio country now, there's a lot of country rap, and that stuff sucks. Like, it just sucks. Thank you, Abigail. Thank you so much. She said that the Beyonce song I'm talking about is called Daddy Lessons. I like that song a lot. I like the whole album, actually. But I agree with you. It was already watered down. It was already becoming corporate. The same thing, we did a whole episode on music, you and I, the same thing that's happened to popular music in general because of the consolidation of different radio stations and the way in which music is produced today by algorithm. Like, that's happening in country too. That's happening with what they're putting out there. I thought we might start the show off by playing something I consider to be real country. A lot of people aren't familiar with some of, like old country. I agree with you, Mr. Chris. I'm so glad you're getting into it. I love old country. And today in Texas, even, there are a lot of country stars who do very well in touring and have a whole audience and fan base, and they do not get played on the radio and nobody knows who they are. And I would argue that they're closer to old country, that they're what I would call real country. And one of these is Dale Watson. Do you know who Dale Watson is?
Sounds familiar.
He used to, I think he still does, play at the Continental all the time in Austin. He's got a song that we're going to just listen to. Hopefully we don't get a copyright strike. We listen to a little bit of it. It's called Country My Ass. Here we go.
Ain't nowhere near the 14, but he says he's seen plenty of hard times. Said he's been on a bus for 5 days and in a hotel room for 5 of them nights. That's tough, right? Said his satellite dish is broke, yeah. And the new band's treating him mean. You know, there's another week to go on his tour, and well, he misses that karaoke machine. Oh, that's country, my ass. Who this angry, yeah. Horse feed us that shit. Getting real tired of it. Ain't sticking outside where the sun don't shine. Get pissed and get mad. Oh, that's country mine.
Now, I don't know who filmed this. This is not Dale Watson's channel, by the way. This is another guy who put it up a live recording from a show. And in this recording, in the next verse, so he's like, that first verse, he's making fun of like a male pop radio country singer and how, he's very young. What does he call him? 20 something. And he's seen a lot of hard times, and he's on his tour bus and the band's treating him mean. And he slept in a hotel room some of the nights, but the other nights he had to sleep on the bus, and he misses his karaoke machine. It's just so funny about like popular country music. And so this next verse, though, he sings about a popular female country singer. There's no name. It's just, it's about a woman. But in this version, I had never heard this particular recording until today. In this show, he started naming people, which is kind of funny. Here we go.
She's out there too, and well, she's got her own secrets too. Taylor Swift. Can't sing a lick. Carrie Underwood in a bucket. Can't carry her tunes.
Shania Twain.
Pretty as a picture. She's got a nice set of whips. And this is her producer / boyfriend who really seduced her a hit. That's country man. Who's the best angry yeah. Horse feed us that shit. Like big and rich. It's together. The sun don't shine. Get pissed and get mad. Oh, that's country mine.
Okay. Thanks for listening to Mr. Watson with me. What did you think? I love him.
I can tell. Well, it's funny. I almost included a link in the funny links. We'll watch some stuff later of a comedian called Bo Burnham. And
yes.
You've seen that thing where he talks about the pandering. And he's right, because a lot of country, like even the stuff that's considered country, like not even like the rap stuff, but just considered to be mainline country these days, a lot of it is kind of pandering to what they think country music fans want. Like I came across some videos of what's her name? Is it Noel something? I can't remember. But it's probably one of the worst country music I've ever heard. And like one of her videos, she's got all these like big trucks and 4-wheelers, and she's like drinking beer, and it's like she's acting like the way she thinks that people that they want to see. Like that's the aesthetic of it. That's the culture of it, and it just comes across as really fake and pandering.
It is so, since you mentioned it, I didn't have it queued up, but in case people haven't seen this Bo Burnham clip, let's just play a second of it, because he talks about pandering in it. Here, I found a version of it.
A dirt road, a cold beer, a blue jeans, a red pickup, a rural noun, simple adjective. But no shoes, no shirt, no shoes, you didn't hear that. Sort of a mental typo. I walk and talk like a field man with a booth somewhere and costs $3,000. I write songs about riding tractors from the comfort of a private jet. I can sing in Mandarin, you still know I'm pandering. Hunting deer, chasing trout, a cold Bud Light with a logo face.
He had that lyric there, like, but I'm pandering. That is just popular. Yeah, popular radio country.
And the person I was thinking of was Katie Noel. So,
Okay.
yeah, she's got a lot of country / rap, but it's just really bad.
I don't mind experimenting with melding different genres of music. I think that's geniuses do that, but it needs to be done well. And panderers also do that. Try to do that. Justin Akinsola for $4.99. Thank you, sir. Y'all like Dolly. Are you new here?
I was to say, look behind Keri.
Oh, yeah. My friend, Two Sisters and Some Yarn, Amy in the chat, she did this particular square. This is a wedding quilt that the community knitted for me and my husband for our wedding. And there's like 50 squares on here from different people. And here's the Dolly square. Look at that. I love Dolly. We just watched 9 to 5 the other night. I hadn't seen it in a while. It was
I've never seen it. I'm surprised you haven't made me watch it.
Oh my!
All right,
gosh.
I'll watch it, and then you have to watch some Star Trek. All right,
that's our deal. I will. I will absolutely watch Star Trek if you watch Best Little Whorehouse in Texas and 9 to 5.
Oh, you're adding another movie. Okay, well, I have to add more Star Trek episodes.
$2 for 2 of
that's
your
4
Trek.
hours, so we need 4 episodes of Star Trek.
Dolly has nice wits too, right? Says Adam.
Wow.
Okay, well, this comment is a good segue into what we're going to talk about. Kazi says Dolly needs to stop thinking that she knows what people are objecting to about trans people, though. I think she's clueless, but she keeps talking about it. I did not know she had been talking about this, and that's disappointing. I think I'm going to look it up and see exactly what she said before I comment on it. But I will say some of these old school country stars, I think they're well-meaning. They're like some of the people in the woke cult who they don't really understand. They think it's still the 70s. Like I'm thinking of Willie Nelson here, and maybe they smoke a little too much pot like Willie, and they're just kind of like, yeah, Beto and, power to the people. And they're not really awake to what is going on in the world and how woke is not liberal, not progressive, is completely tyrannical, racist, sexist, hurts people. Like they're just not awake to it. And that's unfortunate. So I know it sounds like I'm making excuses for some of them, but I am. There are people who are not celebrities who I know, just people who are in the woke cult who I know are there with good intention and who are misguided. And I see more of them wake up every day.
And that's the crazy thing about Willie Nelson, because back in the day, he seemed kind of based. Because I remember, like, during the Bush years, he was criticized the Bush administration. He would hang out with Alex Jones and Jesse Ventura.
Really?
But, yeah, now he's pro Beto all the way. Yeah, you can find videos of him hanging out with Alex Jones.
And now, yeah, he became, they made Alex Jones radioactive. So then people cowardly are like, oh. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the rise of woke in country music. Where should we start? I have a couple of articles. You have a couple articles.
Can we start with the country music awards, since that just took place last week, I believe?
Yes.
And this also happened in Austin. But the big controversy of the night was a singer, and I'm blanking on her name. What is her name? I don't know.
Casey Ballerini.
Yes. So she performed
a
song, and she brought up some drag queens. Yeah. So
here we go.
This is from ET Canada. We both know our hands ain't clean, and it almost happened upon news. If you go down, I'm going down too. That's right.
Last night, Kelsey Ballerini proved she is a true country queen and LGBTQ plus ally. Yes, the singer co-hosted the 2023 CMT Music Awards alongside Kane Brown, but she...
By the way, who's not an ally? I just a question. I've been talking with a friend recently, like, when you see on these stores that are like, they have the rainbow thing, and it's like LGBT safe space, welcome here. Where are you not?
Right.
Like, okay.
It's like, yeah, well, I mean, even if you weren't, like, when did you just say that? So you could, like, I don't know, spit in the food of gay people but act like you're a friend? Like, I don't
Right.
understand, why would you advertise yourself as not being an ally?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's so stupid. Yeah. Look, people in the chat, I agree with you. Sonora says ally is such a dumbass term. I hate that word. Me too. When I hear ally, I want to throw up. Yeah. They don't, social justice warriors don't have friends. They have allies.
Keri, be my ally. It's so creepy to me. Are you an ally?
You and it's like putting up a sign at your store that's like, you know, with the woman symbol, like, we welcome women here. You do? Thanks, guys. It's so hard out here.
We believe in the Civil Rights Act of 1965.
Right. Black people welcome. Just so you know,
60 years too late.
LGBT friendly. Okay. Thanks. It's 2023, guys.
Also made a powerful statement with her performance of If You Go Down, I'm Going Down Too, sharing the stage with RuPaul's Drag Race stars Manila Luzon, Kennedy Davenport, Jan Sport, and Olivia Lux.
Pathetically, if you ever kill your husband, hands on the Bible, I'd be lying through my teeth.
Kelsey's powerful performance comes after Tennessee recently introduced the horrifying Senate Bill 3, known as the Tennessee Drag Ban.
Way to be impartial there. Yeah. And he doesn't even bother to actually read any of this and tell us why it's horrifying.
Look, we can read the front page right here, which they will not read. They say this is horrifying. We read through the one in Texas this week on a kerfuffle break. This is the one in Tennessee. Short version, if you haven't read it and you're woke and you stumbled on this video, short version, they're not banning drag. Oh my gosh. Did someone tell you they were banning drag? Because that person lied to you. They're not banning drag. They're banning sexual performances, drag and otherwise, for children. For children. Adult cabaret performance. Look at this. Means a performance in a location other than an adult cabaret that features topless dancers, go-go dancers, exotic dancers, strippers, male or female impersonators who provide entertainment that appeals to a prurient interest, or similar entertainers, regardless of whether or not performed for consideration. It is an offense for a person to engage in adult cabaret performance on public property or in a location where the adult cabaret performance could be viewed by a person who is not an adult. That's it.
Those bigots.
It's horrifying. Why can't our children see tatas?
Someone think of the children.
They need their sexual adult cabaret performances. Our kids. Think of the kids.
Oh, can't believe this is reality.
I know.
Which thankfully has been temporarily blocked. Her performance clearly took a stance against the bill, and she ended the song with confetti that was illuminated with rainbow stage lights. Sadly, it's quite rare for A-list country stars to show their support for the queer community. But
why are you laughing?
It's just illuminated with gay lights.
It was rainbow confetti, guys. She's a true ally.
When did this guy get this job?
He got it because of the gay voice.
Kelsey has showed she has no time for queer phobia. GLAAD gave props to Kelsey in a statement that read in part, Kelsey's performance at the CMT Music Awards reinforced that drag is not a threat. It's an art. New legislation that tries to silence drag performers in some southern states is as unpopular as it is unnecessary. Now, this isn't the first time that Kelsey has...
It's like, why is this so hard to comprehend?
Why
I know they do. They choose not to, but
yeah.
Just,
I think you're right. They know. They know it's about the ones who push this propaganda anyway. They know it's about drag for kids, but they don't present it that way on purpose. And then the people who eat up their propaganda, a lot of them have no idea. Like, I know people who really believe, like, they're banning all drag. Like, no.
Well, it's like you and I years ago, we went to a drag queen story hour, and
Oh, we
we
did.
were talking to some people, and we talked to this one couple, quite young, and they seemed nice enough. And I started thinking, like, I think people like them, they understand that homophobia tends to be passed down from parents to kids. And I think a lot of them want kids to be included in this quote unquote gay culture because they think that's going to create less homophobia in society. And so I think there's one group that kind of believes that. I think there's another group that believes that exposure to um, men behaving in a way that goes counter to quote unquote toxic masculinity. So men behaving in a feminine way is going to condition young boys to behave in a way that goes counter to this quote unquote toxic masculinity. And then, of course, there's a other group of just, uh, you know, P-files, people who are
Yeah.
into that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think there's really three kind of groups. And of course, again, the darker aspect.
Yes.
But still, the frustration is that for me is how many of the people who are involved in these kind of things, how many of them don't speak out and try to make a more nuanced argument. Because there was another video, I didn't include it, but there was another ET video where they interviewed all of the drag queens that she brought up on stage. And like none of them were saying, hey, when they were asked about the bills, none of them were like, well, drag, is something that we adults like to do, but some performances can get kind of sexual and that's not appropriate for children. And if they said that, I go, okay, that's pretty nuanced. It's fine. But none of them said that. They were just like, us drag queens, we're here to stay. If you don't like it, well, too bad. And it's so annoying. Come on, there has to be more drag queens amongst all the drag queens that have a little bit of a nuanced view of these things and understand that many of these performances are very sexual. And that's not appropriate for children. There has to be some out there. Why aren't they speaking out against the ones that don't care, that don't see any, that there should be any boundaries between the, children and these, sexual performances?
Kitty Demure is the only one that comes to mind. I'm sure there are others, but Kitty Demure is speaking out against it. And is like, why? Parents, why would you bring your kids to a drag show? What is wrong with you? Like, what I do is for adults. Duh. And I really appreciate that. And you're right. I didn't see those interviews with the drag queens who were there, but it sounds like what they're doing is more of the obfuscation of what this is really about, where they never mention that the bills are about no sexual performances in front of children. They never mention that. They pretend instead, they create this straw man that's not happening. That's like, you guys want to get rid of drag. We're here to stay. Nobody's trying to get rid of drag. Okay, so you're over there fighting. They build a straw man and set that on fire, arguing with avatars in their head that don't exist. And because they can't defend sexual performances for kids. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
So they lie.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Somebody says you should interview Kitty. I would love to. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Why haven't I thought of that? That would be, yeah, let's do that. Okay. I'm going to play just a little bit more of this one.
Shown her support for the community. Back in 2019, Kelsey tweeted, "Happy Pride, sending my love to my LGBTQ friends today, this month, and always. Hashtag love is love." And she recently teamed up with queer artist Fletcher on the song Better Version, a song and video proving that love is love.
Now some other person's gonna get the better version of me.
And the thing is, so I watched the video that she did, and they're all women in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And so for this performance, she chose drag queens. And it's obvious she knew this was going to be a big controversy. It's obvious. They're taking a page out of the Dixie Chicks book, which we'll talk about the Dixie Chicks later. Yeah. But she knew that this was going to cause uproar and people were going to be upset and that this was going to bring more attention and make her sell more albums, all that nonsense. And so it's frustrating. Also just knowing, yeah, here we go.
That
New
is
York
a
Post,
marketing
yeah.
thing.
Yes, exactly.
And it's such a fake, like, it's such a virtue signal. It's such a safe mainstream. This ideology is culturally acceptable now. It is the mainstream to be like, I'm for drag queens. Yeah, great. Who isn't? Like,
Yeah,
so brave and stunning.
it's so frustrating. But if you,
Kelsey,
yeah,
good.
read the title and then scroll down a little bit. There's a section that kind of goes into a little bit more. What she is.
Kelsey Ballerini dances in protest with drag queens at 2023 CMT Awards. If you go down, I'm going down too. Kelsey Ballerini made waves Sunday as co-host of the CMT Awards with an emotional tribute to Nashville shooting victims and a performance with drag queens as a protest against Tennessee's proposed laws. Okay, where am I going?
Go down to this one here later in the show. Yeah, right there, right above the photo, that paragraph, and right there, it just goes a little bit more into the Tennessee bill.
Later in the show, Ballerini performed her most recent single, If You Go Down, I'm Going Down Too, accompanied by alumni from RuPaul's Drag Race, an act of protest against a proposed Tennessee law that would criminalize drag reviews. Lie. Criminalize drag reviews. Lie. That would criminalize sexual performances for children. You can still have drag reviews.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see the Post. I thought Post was generally better when it came to
It is a little
stories
better.
like this.
If you go down, I'm going down too. Tweeted Ballerini with a rainbow flag emoji. Thank you to these iconic queens for celebrating love, self-expression, and performance. Okay, the others are tweet. Okay, so this is virtue signaling from at the CMT Awards from someone who I would argue is a great illustrative subject of Dale Watson's That's Country My Ass song. Anyway. Okay. I've got an independent article here. Should I bring this one up?
Do it.
This one is, I'm not sure if I sent you this one. This one is, oh, wait, before we do that one, let's look at a few more of the woke country stars. This is an LGBTQ Nation article. We'll start with this one. And this is from August of, this past fall, August of 2022. Headline, Country Stars Clap Back. Such a woke phrase. Country stars clap back after singer's wife makes transphobic comments. Look at how they're telling you what to think. They're telling you the comments are transphobic. You don't get to decide. They're telling you they're transphobic. Okay. They're talking about Jason Aldean's wife. Jason Aldean is a very popular radio country music star. I like some of his songs. Again, I'm not always black and white about everything. There is some country music on the radio that I do like. So just depends on the song. Anyway, it says country musicians are having a grand old time mocking a beauty entrepreneur for saying that tomboys are being forced to transition. That's not exactly what she said either. Let's read the exact quote since they are paraphrasing. Country music stars have clapped back to transphobic comments made by Brittany Kerr Aldean, a beauty lifestyle influencer married to Grammy-nominated country music artist Jason Aldean. In an August 24th video shared with her 2.2 million Instagram followers, Brittany Aldean wrote, quote, I'd really like to thank my parents for not changing my gender when I went through my tomboy phase. I love this girly life, end quote. That's all she said.
She's not allowed to have a preference.
She's not allowed to be grateful that her parent, I'm grateful. A lot of girls our age went through a tomboy phase. Can you imagine doing that today? I'm so grateful that this wasn't in the schools back then. This wasn't in the media back then. This wasn't in, on the social media back then. So that's what they're calling transphobic. Her saying, I'd really like to thank my parents for not changing my gender when I went through my tomboy phase. Her husband commented on her post with a laughing emoji, writing LMAO, laughing my ass off. I'm glad they didn't too, because you and I wouldn't have worked out. So then the article continues. Moreover, trans kids aren't just going through a tomboy phase. Really? Who's a trans kid? Because a lot of these kids who are getting medically and surgically transitioned are later detransitioning. Some of them are even suing their parents and the doctors now because they were going through a phase. And you guys, those of you who are running culture right now, you're just shuttling everyone. Oh, you say you think you might be. Let's get the transition going. So they go on to criticize her and say Brittany Aldine's comment ignorantly parrots the right-wing claim that trans kids only exist because adults coercively change their gender identities. It goes on to talk about what right-wingers, these people don't know anything about right-wingers. And there's no evidence that parents are making kids transition. Hang out in some of these parents groups.
Scratch. What?
Yeah, record scratch. So it says, though Brittany Aldine's comment may seem innocuous to some, she and her husband have become, quote, increasingly outspoken as conservative activists, without too much commentary or pushback from more centrist or liberal-leaning country stars, Variety reported.
I'm surprised they used the term conservative, not right-wing activist.
Yeah, me too, because they love to say right-wing now. And they did. Well, Variety's the one that called it conservative. This LGBTQ Nation paper is calling her right-wing. So then she did a follow-up post. And in an overlong follow-up comment, she posted on Instagram. Again, they're telling you what to think, that she spent too much time talking. She compared identifying as transgender with identifying as a cat or a dinosaur. She added, quote, advocating for the genital mutilation of children under the disguise of love and calling it gender-affirming care is one of the worst evils. Truth, by the way. Give it up for Brittany Aldine. Love is protecting your child until they are mature enough as an adult to make their own life decisions. So then this paper, this LGBTQ Nation, repeats a lie. Gender-affirming care for minors does not include surgery. Lie. Easily disproved lie. Easily disproved lie. Go and look it up. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Look up mastectomies for minors. You'll find studies on it. You'll find news reports on it. There's a New York Times article. You will find it. This is a total lie. And if you ever comment on something like this with someone who's telling you this lie and you give them the evidence, then they switch gears immediately. Well, it's because first they say it's not happening. Then you're like, well, it is happening. Look at this. And then they say, well, it's a good thing that it's happening. So here's where we get to the woke country stars who used this and the mob that formed against Brittany Aldine and Jason Aldean to score some woke virtue signaling points. Here's one. Cassidy Pope says, you would think that celebs with beauty brands would see the positives in including LGBTQ plus people in their messaging. But instead, here we are hearing someone compare their tomboy phase to someone wanting to transition. Real nice. This is also a straw man. Because she's commenting on the fact that she thinks gender, like transition, medical and surgical transition for kids is evil, that doesn't mean that she's excluding LGBTQ people. There are lots of gays and lesbians and trans people who oppose this evil. That's a whole organization called Gays Against Groomers. Like, you don't speak for them, Cassidy Pope. This just makes me angry. I'm sorry. You should start talking because I'm just going to keep ranting.
No, it's good. Why are they so obsessed with children? I mean, I know a lot of them are sick. I know that. But I would assume that they'd be smart enough to know that you don't go after people's children, because that's a line that a lot of people that's a line you shouldn't cross, because a lot of people will react negatively when people start telling this to children. It's one thing to be talking to adults, and we've already seen the woke and far left have such a huge influence on society. But when you start going after people's children, a lot of people are going to get very pissed off, as they already are, and it just seems like a tactical mistake on the part of the people pushing this stuff to start targeting children.
I mean, I think this is such a long conversation if we go down that route. Why are they targeting kids? I think the ideology that it's not a bug, it's a feature. They want to target kids for everything, for control. You know that quote, I think it's Aristotle, that's like, show me the child up until the age of 7 or something like that, and I
Mhm.
will show you the man. Like, if they can get kids and really get kids, like, mess with their heads, brainwash them. But most of the people who speak it and push it, like this idiot Cassidy Pope, they don't know, they don't have that intent. They're just, these are what you call the useful tools. These are the foot soldiers of something. They don't even know what they're pushing. These are unawake people.
But I don't understand how they don't understand how this is going too far for a lot of people, because there's always been a push from, the left in general, just to get kids into government schooling and to increase the amount of years people spend in government schooling, whether it be college or, pre-K, just to have people basically be raised by the state, because they're trying to form people in certain mold. They want to mold people into becoming perfect servants of the government and the left. But it's a lot easier to make that argument when you're just talking about general education than it is when you're talking specifically about sexualizing kids. That, to me, is just, again, these people, I know they're very deviant and very evil, but I would think that they'd be smart enough to know that you can't expect to get away with this, going after people's kids like this. You can't.
I don't know. I feel like they think they've gotten away with so much. It's like right out in the open, I mean, it's working to some degree. I think it's also causing a real backlash, and there are people waking up to it. But look at the soccer moms and the wine moms and the ones who are like taking their kids to drag shows. Like, it's working on them. I don't know. Oh, by the way, Rondo says I butchered the quote. Probably. I was paraphrasing, but here it is. Says he said, "Give me a child until he's 7, and I will show you the man." That's the quote. Thank you very much. Oh, Rondo says that's still not the quote. Well, if you can find it, Rondo, put it in the chat, and we will put it on the screen. The exact quote. Thank you. Okay. Just a little bit more of this article. So there's Cassidy Pope, who's this woke country star. And then we get to this one, who I also do not like. And Therese, hello, Therese, the chat. She says, Maren Morris is a cow.
The quote of the evening, yes.
Thank you, Therese, for sharing your opinion. I, too, dislike Maren Morris. Here she says, let's see. Country musician Maren Morris, whose music has earned her over 30 awards and 90 award nominations, also responded. Initially replying in the Instagram comment section of Brittany Aldine's video, she wrote, quote, I'm glad she didn't become a boy either, because we really don't need another asshole dude in the world. Sucks when Karens try to hide their homophobia, transphobia behind their protectiveness of children. I hate this empty-headed woman. I'm sorry. I struggle sometimes with trying not to hate people who push this stuff. But the bigger the platform they have when they push it, and the greater their arrogance when they're clearly ignorant, the harder it is for me to not hate them. Like,
that's the worst thing, because I can handle like people having really dumb takes, but the arrogance when people think they're so smart and everyone's beneath them and they clearly don't know what the hell they're talking about, that just drives me up the wall.
Same. It's like, you can be ignorant, but when you add arrogance to it, that's when I can't. The two things together. You can also be arrogant if you're not ignorant. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people, very intelligent people, very awake people, very with it people, also arrogant, which kind of sucks, but they've earned it. Like, they've earned it. It's the ignorance and arrogance together that just gets me. Okay. Then, okay, that wasn't enough. She basically called her an asshole and a Karen and said she was homophobic and transphobic. And then on Pope's Twitter comment, Morris replied, "It's so easy to like not be a scumbag human? Question mark. Sell your clip ends and zip it, insurrection Barbie." That's what she's calling Jason Aldean's wife.
God, her grammar is so bad.
Yeah. I never would ever want to meet this person. Okay, so then this article continues, this woke article. Morris's reply caught the attention of transphobic conservative pundit Candace Owens.
It's a long title.
Yeah. Owens tagged her in a Twitter post writing, "It's easier to not castrate your children, but I guess whatever helps sell bad records." Sometimes I love Owens. She'll go in there and like sling mud, and I have an appreciation for that sometimes. So then they start going back and forth like children. And Morris replies to Owens writing, "Oh my God, not you. My Grammy's positively sobbing right now. Also, why do y'all always go to castration and pedophiles to try and shut an argument down? It's honestly concerning and worth looking into." Owens replied, "Yeah, when you chop a penis off, it's the literal definition of castration. So yes, I always go to basic English definitions. Also, I said groomers, not pedophiles. Got something else on your mind you want to share with the class, sicko?" And so then here we have another, this is a so-called queer musician, Joy Oladokun, wrote, "Waking up happy that my parents didn't raise me to be as rude and nasty as Brittany Aldean." But basically a bunch of these like woke country stars started piling on her. Then we get Brandi Carlile here. Come on, Brandi Carlile. Brandi Carlile says, "Bravo, Maren Morris." That's what she says about the arrogant toddler. "Bravo, Maren Morris. It's when you selflessly bear another's burden that you actually reflect God's love. Way to not tolerate disgusting behavior." Again, all they're talking about is her saying she's glad her parents didn't transition her when she went through her tomboy phase. They're calling that disgusting, transphobic, homophobic, a selfish human, a garbage human, like this, all of this vitriol for having that opinion.
Who are these people? I'm like,
I mean, we could listen to some of their bad music. The Rolling Stone headline here that Brandi Carlile is replying to, by the way, the Rolling Stone headline says the influencer wife of a country superstar makes transphobic comments on Instagram. Again, it's just like the narrative that they put out. It's just, if you read this stuff and you're unquestioning, if you happen to be on the left and you're watching this, like, why are you content to let them tell you what to think in the headline itself? Why not let you make up your own mind?
Thinking's hard, Keri.
You might still form the same opinion. I'm aware of that, but at least it would be your opinion. Thinking is hard, and you're an adult. You can do it.
No.
No. No. Lisa Kay says it's just like 10 years ago when everything was suddenly racist. Yes. Rando says, "My first time here. I don't know what this channel's all about. Just showed up in my feed randomly." Well, welcome, Rando. If you can find that quote, I don't see it, but if you find it, put it here and we'll read it out. I'm looking. I may have missed it. Anyway,
so
welcome.
it's interesting how we're talking about how country music was becoming more pop, and that's been happening for decades. But it's almost like it was necessary in order for these people to start saying these stupid things, because when they start saying things that go counter to what the base in general of country music is, about,
Yes.
or how they're oriented, and that threatens their record sales. But if you have an audience that isn't the typical country music Western audience, then you can kind of get away with saying a lot of these stupid things. And so
Well, they think they're winning. They think they're wokeifying country music and winning over young country fans. And this is the Independent article that I was mentioning. The headline is, "What does the rise in woke country music mean? The Republicans are losing hearts and minds among red state Christian youth." And of course, they're salivating over this opinion. The conservative Christian right's losing the battle in an arena it used to own, excuse me. I'll just read just a little bit. We're not going to stay on this long. This week, country singer Casey Musgraves was given the meme treatment when a clip of her surprised reaction to winning a Grammy Award went viral. Of course, there's nothing particularly surprising about country singers winning awards, et cetera, et cetera. Yet the success of Musgraves, who walked away with 4 awards as the night's big winner, represents a significant cultural shift. In many ways, Musgraves, a 30-year-old Texas native signed to a Nashville record label, is the typical country star. But in others, she represents a growing number of musicians who are increasingly comfortable about breaking from country's traditionally conservative mold. Notably, Musgraves is a vocal supporter of the LGBT plus community. She first made waves with the 2013 song Follow Your Arrow, which tells listeners to, quote, kiss lots of boys or kiss lots of girls if that's something you're into, end quote. She even expressed regret that as a child she used to bully gay people and said she's pissed that her genre isn't more LGBT inclusive. In 2018, she wrote a, quote, love letter to the LGBT plus community during Pride Month, saying their support changed her as a human. And so it's talking about in the past, here we go. We're getting into the Dixie Chicks. In the past, wait. Let me get a little bit up here. In pop, a reasonable amount of controversy is celebrated, but as the music of choice in America's deep red Republican-leading states in the South and Midwest, conservative Christian values have long been integral to country's cultural identity. It is a genre where traditional values, horseback riding, beer swigging, Christianity, and heterosexuality are celebrated. In the past, musicians who deviate from this have been punished. Country music sensations the Dixie Chicks, who shared their opposition to the Iraq War while performing in London in 2003, are a particularly memorable example. And it says, introducing Traveling Soldier, a song about a young soldier who died in Vietnam. The group said, quote, "We do not want this war, this violence, and we're ashamed that the president of the United States is from Texas." These words caused outrage in the country community. Within days, the Dixie Chicks were blacklisted from radio stations across the southern states, and fans boycotted their music. Despite being vindicated by changing public opinion in the years since, their careers were irreparably damaged with a huge drop in support from their target demographic. But who is their target demographic? Because they've gotten a lot more woke since then. They even changed, they're no longer called the Dixie Chicks. Because they're so woke, they said that somehow this inspires images of slavery. So now they're just the chicks, which isn't that sexist? Shouldn't they change that as well?
Well, it's funny because I in preparation for this, I read Texas Monthly article from 1999, and it talked about how the Dixie Chicks were getting heat from their record label to change their names then because they thought the record label thought that Dixie was too regional and that the Chicks was too politically incorrect. But they stood fast and they're like, no, this is our name. We're sticking to it. And this article is talking about how tough they are and stuff. Flash forward to 2020, and then they changed their names to just the Chicks, which, as many people have pointed out, still kind of, isn't that still kind of politically incorrect? But
it's still
kept
on
that.
PC.
And they weren't the only ones. At the same time, I believe the same year as Lady Antebellum, they just became Lady A.
Lady A.
And it's like, how do you people not even know the history of the South? Like, you're supposed to be ingrained into the Southern culture. You not understand how much nuanced it is. You're sounding like somebody from California that has no idea of true Southern history.
Yeah, they have no idea. I don't know. They're pulled into it. Again, I think this really has to do more with the radio country, the commercial country. Like, it's all a part of, since the corporate world, the mainstream world has adopted woke social justice as the dominant ideology, then the artists who are in that world want to get invited to the right cocktail parties, as people point out. They want to be considered one of the cool people. The cool people today, I guess, align with the corporations and the government, and they're not the resistance at all. That's for sure, though they think they are. But
And you notice how all the people we've been talking about tonight have been women?
I have noticed.
Just saying.
Just saying, women, yeah, are, I think, more susceptible to bad ideology than men. Just slightly, like on average. And then they pull men with them sometimes into bad ideology.
Well, it's harder for a man to use his ideology to artificially manipulate, or manipulate people into artificially propelling themselves up hierarchy, unless they change their sex or gender or whatever.
Right. They become
But
trans.
yeah, and so again, this is just it's a cheat code basically for a lot of women, for blacks, for people who are considered parts of marginalized communities to cut in front of the line essentially without having to work to actually achieve something. They can just manipulate other people to giving them resources and status just because of their membership in a marginalized group.
Yep. Let's see. I have about, I should be getting off this stream soon to join Chrissy's celebration stream, but we had so many things we wanted to cover. I don't want to cut it too short. So what are the most important things in your list?
Can you bring up the that second video of the Dixie Chicks, the woke video?
Okay.
And probably just mute this since I don't know what the copyright stuff is, but I just want to show a little bit of the video just to give an idea of just how woke they've become. This video came out, I want to say 2020, either 2020 or 21, right after the peaceful riots.
The summer of peaceful, fiery riots, mostly peaceful. I haven't seen this. Am I going to hate it?
Yeah, there's a good money shot at the 2:30 mark, but we'll get there.
Okay. If your voice held no power, they wouldn't try to silence you. Well, we know who they're trying to silence right now. In the past few years, it's conservatives. I agree with that quote, actually.
Yeah, song's called March, March.
To my own drum.
All this footage of all these protests. Hey, rainbow flag.
I'm an army of one. Rainbow flag protest. Okay. To my own drum. Are you sure it's not the corporate drum and the government drum?
They're making gun symbols. That's violence. Yeah. You can fast forward. I don't know what the hell's happening.
I stand with Emma. Oh gosh. They Parkland, have Parkland. Oh gosh. Oh wait, look at all the look at all the children activists here. They've got Emma from Parkland. They've got the March for Our Very Lives. They've got
drama queens.
Drama queen. They've got Greta here for the climate.
Oh, good to see she made a cameo.
Climate action.
Moment everything went wrong.
So they're trying to draw a line between protests of the past and these fake resistance protests now, where they're not the resistance. They're out there marching they're on the same side as McDonald's and Amazon and American Airlines and all the banks and Facebook and Twitter and the government, and you guys are not. You understand this, right? All of media.
But they care about us, Keri.
Okay. What are you even protesting?
They're just throwing everything in here.
They're mixing in modern day phony, in my opinion, protests where people don't really know what they're out there marching for. They're mixing in with historic protest footage. Civil rights protests. Now there's Greta at the bullhorn.
Wait, we might be coming up to the money shot. Where are we? Oh,
Look at
still, yeah,
they've got Black Lives Matter, Black Trans Lives Matter on a mask. Even worse. Comply.
What about half black trans?
Black Lives Matter, Black Trans Lives Matter. Okay. Black half trans. Yeah. This kind of looks like, do you ever see Clockwork Orange where they forced his eyes open?
Yes. Somewhere in the world, people being forced to watch this video on loop.
Look at this. Black Lives Matter painted on the street. Where is that? Is that? I know they did that in Austin.
DC, I think.
That might be DC.
I remember
yeah.
DC.
Which is a Marxist organization. Upside down American flag. Great
We're
look.
coming up on the money shot. Are you ready?
I'm ready. What is this?
You'll see.
Fire.
3, 2, 1. Here we go.
In
Yeah,
white
there we
silence.
go.
Oh gosh. Say their names. In white silence. Why? Because silence is violence, or your words are violence. If I say words you don't like, it's violent. But if I'm silent, it's also violent. They don't even know what they mean.
No, that's just literally throwing everything they can into this video. It doesn't matter if any of it makes sense. It don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's just to me it seems like because like when they said the stuff about Bush, they got a lot of pushback, as we read about. I know there are a lot of public burnings of their CDs and stuff like that, but ever since then it seems like they've had a resentment towards their audience. It just seems like they keep like doubling down and just going, that's part of like them getting more and more woke, because it wasn't just this. They leading up to the 2016 election, they had this giant like 20-foot photo or drawing of Donald Trump with devil horns on it, and they kept going on about how terrible he was and how Hillary was great and how Trump wanted to assassinate Hillary, and just saying all these crazy things. And it's just, again, it just seems like they're trying to piss people off. And not that they have much of an audience left, because at the time when they said the stuff about Bush, they were being embraced by people who didn't normally listen to their music or country music, simply because they're going after a Republican. And they're on the cover of magazines and they're getting all these kudos, and PR was like,
they got the rush.
Yes.
They got the rush of the mainstream woke. Now you're in the mainstream, right?
Yeah.
Now you're supported by the elites and the establishment. And
so like now they're trying to do the same thing, but like you said earlier, like none of this is brave or whatever. There's so many people saying the same thing, and so you can look at I think this video has like 3.8 million, and like compared to the classic older stuff that has tens of millions, like this is pretty pathetic. But what happened?
Look at the bankrupt organizations there. I mean ethically bankrupt organizations, because they made a lot of money. Black Lives Matter.
Do you think Soros donates to all of these? You just put Soros at the end of it. Thank you to George Soros for
Human Rights Campaign, the ACLU, which is completely ethically bankrupt, no longer defending civil liberties. March for Our Lives. Planned Parenthood's up there. White People for Black Lives. I didn't know about that one.
I didn't see any Native Americans in there.
Got the Innocence Project up there, freeing people who they say have been falsely convicted. Okay. Hated it.
Oh, we need a sound effect board. We just use that.
Hated it. Sorry. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. What else do we have? You know what? We may do a 2-part episode because there's so much else I want to cover.
Oh, well then I was gonna say that funny stuff, but I'm trying to think.
Save the funny stuff, because I'm gonna jump off and go to Chrissy's stream in a second, and I really want to do part 2. Could we?
All right.
Is it too much country for you? Because we didn't even get to play. We played Dale Watson, but we didn't really even get to play. What I want to do at the end is be like, here's some good country music. and just play like a little snippet of a couple things. And I know you have some funny stuff, and there's more. There's so much more of this woke stuff. And we didn't even get to the Bud Light boycott and Kid Rock.
Yeah, let's do part 2.
Can we? Okay. I'm very sorry, guys. I got to cut it short. I told Chrissy I would be on her stream tonight at this time. If you want to follow me over there, we'll have some fun. It's a celebration stream. And who's on there? Alex Stein, I think Anthony Kumi, a couple other people. So I'll see you guys there. Do a Chrissy raid. Oh, I don't know how to do that. I forgot. Let me see. I think I have to set it up in advance. Okay, let me see. Do you know what they're talking about?
Yeah, I know. There's a way to send.
Where you end your stream and it sends
yeah.
everybody there. I did it once
Yes.
before. Let me see if I can figure this out. Somebody helped me last time. I think I have to do it on you guys. It's super boring watching me try to figure this out. You can put the link.
Well,
in the
rooting
chat.
for you, Keri.
Oh, put the link in the chat here. I'll do it right here. Here's the link. We'll do that. Brahma Bull, have a good night. Oh, tomorrow night is the interview I did with Brahma. It's going to be out at 6:00 Central Time. Oh, wait. I put the link in Chrissy's chat. Sorry. I'm doing too many things at once. Thank you, Mayor. I need a producer backstage. Anyway, you guys, I had fun. We're going to do a part 2 because we barely touched the surface. If there's anything you think we should cover in part 2, email me at dprogrampod@gmail.com. I promise I'll check it before then. And I would love, like, anything we should cover, like the Dolly Parton stuff that I haven't seen, send me that. We're going to do a part 2 of the wokeification of country music, and that's country my ass. Please check out Mr. Dale Watson, and I'll see you guys on Chrissy Mare's stream.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.